You're going to have to forgive me. I just cannot get enough of this Harry and Meghan story. I mean, the fake car crash, just actually trying to pretend that they barely survived what his mother died from. And I shouldn't be laughing because it's so sick, but
hey, y'all, come look at this.
But I am laughing at the cultural response to it. Everybody making fun of them left and right, just realizing that these people have an illness. And this is what happens. Victimhood, by the way, can become a mental illness. You can be so addicted to constantly being a victim that you just can't stop yourself, even when you're destroying your reputation everywhere. They've completely destroyed their reputations in the UK. They were like, we're going to run to America. It's going to be fine. And now they have already destroyed their reputation here, obviously, because New Yorkers don't like this. New Yorkers don't like the idea.
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
That you come to this city for one night and you pretend that you almost died, despite the fact that Taylor Swift lives here, Justin Bieber lives here, stars that are way bigger than you live here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got them.
And none of them have ever had to survive a car chase in Manhattan, mostly because it's impossible. But yeah, the response is amazing. But I'm about to get to the greatest response that has ever been written by a photo agency, plausibly ever written.
Oh my God!
By a lawyer ever, when Harry and Meghan decided to demand all of the photos that were taken that night. Before we get there, let's first cut to Whoopi Goldberg and her response to this fake Diana Part 2 car crash that never was. Take a listen.
Prince Harry and Meghan were followed by paparazzi while leaving the Ziegfeld Theater. Their spokesperson called it a near-catastrophic car chase. Others said it wasn't bad.
Are you serious?
But I think people in New York know if it was possible to have car chases in New York, we'd all make it to the theater on time. But I think their spokesperson referenced something that you generally would reference in Los Angeles. That's where you have chases. That's where you can move at high speeds. Right. I think they were dealing with aggressive paparazzi.
Stop it.
Yeah. But I don't think it was where, you're watching on TV like this, watching the cars go, because, you can't, it just doesn't work in New York.
No, I mean, sometimes I'm in the city and I hear an ambulance trying to get through, and I think that person's dead.
Yeah.
That person is dead.
Because you can't get through. I mean, it's crazy.
They're exactly right. I've lived in New York just like that. And you do think that. Actually, that's very funny from Joy Behar when you see an ambulance trying to get by and they're just bounding on the horn, and there's nowhere to go because it's just gridlock. It's always gridlock. That's why you wear tennis shoes and you walk wherever you have to go. It's senseless to use a taxi. You almost have to be somebody from out of town to use a taxi because we just don't use them. There's no point. It's going to take forever and it's going to cost you tons of money. But yes, and another great take here. Obviously, people are just having fun with this. The paparazzi chasing Harry and Meghan Smollett. And it is, of course, a photo of the
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
Sindaro brothers who helped Jussie Smollett stage his own hate crime. You really just have to wonder, how can this be fun for them? I have to wonder the conversations that they're having at home when this happens. Like, are they just both so addicted to drama that they can't simply go out and come home? Like, they can't do anything. They can't go visit his grandparents, go visit his dad, and without there having to be some tragedy. Do they always just go home and go, oh, we've been victimized? So they go to the grocery store and they get back home, they're like, oh, we've been victimized. I mean, he asked what color skin the baby was going to be. Kate's daughter threw a temper tantrum. She's 3 years old and she threw a temper tantrum over
What is he doing?
The dress. Is this actually how their brains work? Are they both this stupid and emotional? It really just fascinates me because I would just be so bored with this already. I'd be like, hey, honey, let's just go out and come home and not constantly
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
Be chasing the press. At the very moment that they're saying that they hate the press, they are the ones that released the statement, essentially trying to evoke Princess Diana's death. Like, they love the press. They love the press. They love the victim attention. And they are understandably getting a backlash, but no backlash greater than what happened when their lawyer sent a legal letter to Backgrid USA. Backgrid USA essentially is a photo agency. They were the ones that sent out some paparazzi to get the shot of them, obviously. And they decided, just by themselves, Harry and Meghan, that they were owed all of the footage from the agency that was possibly shot. I don't know why they demanded this. Maybe because they're working on their next Netflix documentary installment, and whatever they were about to say, this photo agency was going to be able to debunk. Maybe that was going to be their next installment, how we almost died just like my mom. I don't know. These people are absolutely crazy. So anyways, they demanded the agency's footage of the chase.
Wait for it.
And they wrote this: "We hereby demand that Backgrid immediately provide us with copies of all photos, videos, and or films taken last night by the freelance photographers."
Here it comes.
After the couple left their event and over the next several hours. I'm sorry, what? Do people think this is how the world works? You could just hereby demand things? I hereby demand that Harry and Meghan release their Montecito mansion to me and my husband and my family. We will now be raising our kids in Montecito. I hereby demand. Well, actually sounds like the king's authority.
Oh my God!
Right? Hereby, from the king, by order of the crown. Well, Backgrid's lawyer did not like this. They rejected the Hush's demand, but they really went far enough to say this in a letter. In America,
Wait for it.
as I'm sure you know, property belongs to the owner of it. Third parties cannot just demand it be given to them, as perhaps kings can do. Perhaps you should sit down with your client and advise them that his English rules of royal prerogative to demand that the citizenry hand over their property to the crown were rejected by this country long ago. We stand by our founding fathers. I laughed out loud when I saw that. I stood up and I said, I pledge allegiance to the flag. I sang, I'm proud to be an American, USA, USA. I bought tickets to a Trump rally. I mean, this is such an epic response to these children, these psychodramatic children who keep casting themselves as the victim in their own movie. Yes, there are paparazzi at the events. Yes, the paparazzi are going to try to see if you're going to an after party. Every celebrity lives here. Beyonce, Jay-Z, they have their photos taken everywhere they go. Nobody turns it into a psychodramatic thriller.
That doesn't make sense.
Quite like these two. Everyone's tired of them. Please, Harry and Meghan, go to Canada. I feel like when the UK and America don't want something, we usually agree that it should go up into Canada. And there's no reason for you guys to be there. You guys hate paparazzi. Why are you living in California? Why are you attending events in New York City? Because you don't actually hate the paparazzi. You want attention, but you want attention to be only exactly when you want it, right? You're like, when we call the paparazzi, we want them there. But if we don't want them there, then...
Wait for it.
Yeah, that's probably where they were going by. They were probably actually going to Jay-Z or Beyonce's house, and that was the only reason they didn't want the paparazzi to follow them. They are such a deplorable couple that they have actually brought this nation together. The left and the right are finally agreeing on something. Do what? Live. I didn't catch her meaning at first. I didn't understand. Maybe didn't want to understand. My mind just didn't want to process the words. It's all so painful, she was saying. What is? To be hated like this. For what?
Come on now, dog.
What had she done, she asked. She really wanted to know. What sin had she committed to deserve this kind of treatment? She just wanted to make the pain stop, she said. Not only for her, but for everyone. For me, for her mother. But she couldn't make it stop, so she had decided to disappear. Disappear? Without her, she said, all the press would just go away. And then I wouldn't have to live like this. Our unborn child would never have to live like this. So if she kills the baby won't have to live through bad press. That's what she's saying to her husband as she's crying, right? If I kill our child, then our child won't have to read all of the bad press.
That doesn't make sense.
It's so clear, she kept saying. It's so clear. I just have to stop breathing, stop being. This exists because I exist. I begged her not to talk like that. I promised her that we'd get through it and that we'd find a way. In the meantime, we'd find her the help she needed. I asked her to be strong and to hang on. And that, my friends, is the point in this book where Meghan orchestrates manipulating him to leave the royal family. I am the one, the way your son don't... And he can't see it because he's thick, as we've learned throughout this entire book. He's very thick, and he believes everything that she says. He believes every time she cries, every time he finds her in the heap on the floor sobbing over mundane things like bridesmaid dresses. He really believes that she's a person that's in pain. No, this is a 40-year-old woman who manipulated her way from the bottom to the top by marrying somebody who was the producer on the show who gave her her start in life, then divorcing him and finding a prince that is too thick to see what everybody else in the entire world can see. And of course, by the way, he's got an incredible memory when it comes to his conversations with Meg. He's got an incredible memory about every instance that he and Willie have a bang up and a mash up, and every time that they exchange words. But during a particular phone call in which Willie clearly laid out for him why he disliked Meghan, point by point by point, explaining to him how rude she had been to people that worked at the palace, how rude she had been to Kate, Harry, his memory just goes foggy. He says he's too tired to remember what Willie had even said on the phone. He was just too exhausted. He doesn't remember anything that Willie said in that entire discussion. So that disallows us to then assess whether or not Willie maybe had some points about the fact that he was concerned that his brother was going to marry someone that everyone thinks is a sociopathic narcissist. He can't remember that part. It's too foggy. All he remembers from that conversation are that her tears were glistening. Meghan overheard it, and her tears were glistening as she held her belly, and she was pregnant before she threatened to kill her unborn child.
Boy.
So, yeah, it goes on and on with how many times we learn that Meghan cried and was in a heap and was in a puddle, and I think we're supposed to feel bad for her. And Harry, I think by the end of this book, you're supposed to realize that Harry is just a really sad, unfortunate person.
Why? Why?
Because he was born to give a spare kidney to his brother or something that just so factually, listen, that conversation never happened, okay? All right, guys, the next portion of the show is going to be available exclusively on Daily Wire Plus. I'm going to be answering, am I the asshole questions from Reddit. It's a thread on Reddit where people talk about what's going on in their personal lives, and they ask the public, is it me? Am I the a-hole?
Is y'all right upstairs?
So if you're not a member yet, go ahead and click the link in the description and subscribe right now.